What's up, guys? I wanted to talk a little bit about the factory turbo kit versus doing like an aftermarket twin turbo kit on the R32 GTR, R33 or R34 RB26. So let's go ahead and come inside and I'll show you what I'm working with in the kitchen. So I've got my micrometer and I've got all my parts laid out on the countertop. This is the Spectrum Motorsports DR500 turbos, which I got through Up Garage, and we're going to be pairing those up with the HKS turbo outlet pipes and the Tomei manifolds. So I wanted to do this video because somebody had requested in one of the comments that I show the difference between the Tomeis and the OEM turbo manifolds. If you guys like this type of information, this type of content, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below. We really appreciate the support on the channel. So let's kind of take a look at them. You'll notice that the Tomei is solid all the way across, the way it sits to the head, versus the factory has the gaps in between. The factory is milled out though for the like the lock washers to go in there, so I do kind of like that part of them. But you can see like we have parts that are all welded on versus this is all solid cast one piece, so they're not supposed to crack. But the biggest difference that you're going to see, if you look over here, I've got them set up. So where the manifold comes out and into the turbo, you can see this is an OEM Nissan gasket. The Tomeis fit perfectly to that gasket, versus the factory manifold, you've got that entire area right here, which you could mill, like you could take a die grinder and you could die grind. You can pretty much die grind that whole thing out, it feels like. You might, it would be getting a little thin to the down below weld, but you can, mill that out if you wanted to stay with the OEM manifolds. But let's take a look at the inside. So if you look how it merges, you can see that just, it's kind of open versus this is, the way it merges, it's like a 3-into-1. If you look at the manifold, the way that it's bent, this is definitely a smoother transition. So you can tell that there's been a little bit more thought put into how it's going to all flow and merge into that outlet, versus this is just kind of, seems like there'd be more restriction with the exhaust gases merging together here to me. I don't know, I guess we'll find out on the dyno. The dyno's going to tell everything, but if you look at the factory outlet pipe here, so you can see the new HKS1 is really wide open all the way back. Very similar to R34, versus R32 is really restrictive. It's going to really help with the high end. If you look down below, you can see how much bigger that is down below. There's no comparison with the size. Let's see. The other thing too with the turbo itself, I had the DR500s. I had Spectrum. I was talking to Chris up there and I had him die grind this out to perfectly match with the Tomei manifolds. So I sent him one of the factory Nissan gaskets there, which I sent him this one, so he knew what size to mill it out. And you can see the big difference with the OEM with the outlet, the way that that comes through, versus this. So I mean, that's tiny. So that should allow more of a Venturi effect. You have all that exhaust merging into it, which should allow this to really have a lot more on the high end, I would think. But yeah, these are the turbos I had in an earlier video, which I'll link. So these are R34 GTR cores, which I ordered from Kruber or Up Garage in Japan. I had them shipped in and then I sent them out to, I brought them to Up Garage and he sent them out to Spectrum to get them built. But let's get a good look at these. So these are R34 housings with a billet compressor. So this is what Spectrum does, all custom up in Canada. And you can see everything's been cleaned up, it's been repowder coated. He took the numbers that were off it, the factory numbers. Yeah, he cleaned them up really nice. I'm not sure what the difference is. I know that's powder coated. I'm not sure what the difference is with what's back here. I know it's some type of heat treatment on there. But we're gonna have to go ahead and take our water and oil lines off of the factory ones, put them over here. And then when I get that Nismo oil separator or catch can, then I can get the oil drain line put on the rear turbo and all cleaned up and everything. Yeah, this looks pretty nice. Looks really clean in there. Did a really good job cleaning them up. They look brand freaking new. So it's stock Garrett turbos from an R34, which have been outfitted and converted to DR500s. I have a bunch of new OEM hardware and stuff coming from Nissan out of Japan. This is all from Right Hand Drive. I got all the whole D-Max turn signal and corner lights and everything for the Sylvia. These are all brand new because the factory stuff is all broken. It couldn't be remounted. I'll probably do an unboxing video on all the D-Max turn signals and lights and everything to compare to OEM. So here's a look at the stock turbo outlet pipe or turbo elbows, 53 millimeters. And then this one measures at 70, 69 and some change. So that's like 16 more millimeters of output flow. And the thing I noticed on the turbo elbow is it's shaped quite a bit different if I hold them both up. Like the shape is completely different. So I hope that these fit in there okay, because that is like quite a bit off. So hopefully I can manipulate the downpipe enough to get them on there. I guess we'll find out. So that's got me kind of a little concerned. Let's see. Yeah, so these are definitely a lot taller. So this is going to put the front pipe, I'm going to have to pull that a lot more forward towards the engine. Or maybe, I don't know. Hopefully it goes together good. So we got 37 in width on the factory manifolds versus 40.5 on the Tomei. And then the Tomei for width is the same as the housing on the turbo, but it's 51 roughly. Factory manifold is way smaller, so 39. So let's get a good measurement on the exhaust output from the head. Let's see if there are any difference in size. I would imagine they're pretty similar. Let's see. And you're 39.67 in width, and your width is about 35.4, so the outlet is a little bit bigger. And then for height, you're around 35.4, so you're 33.5. So I wanted to look inside this area if I can get a good shot at it. You can see how smooth that is. And when comparing these, besides the measurements, like if you just take your finger and you feel inside here, the transition from everything, it's completely smooth on the inside versus this, you come in and it's all notchy. It's all kind of lumpy on the inside. And so you can tell that these are definitely going to be a lot smoother transition for that exhaust flow, which should definitely improve performance. I don't know if there's really a bigger internal volume on these because they look about the same. So there's probably a little bit difference in size on the inside. You can definitely see that this merge point, this is more restrictive versus this really tapers down. So this area is definitely bigger across than this area for that smoother output. And they claim, or did I think they claim like 30 more wheel horsepower on these versus the factory ones? So we'll see what the dyno charts show once I get it plugged in. So I wanted to do this video just in case you guys are considering upgrading your factory manifolds, going with Tomei or something different, because these are expensive. You're talking like well over $1,000 for this part. And then if you're considering upgrading your elbows, you're right around another $1,000 again. So it's not cheap. So I wanted you guys to have this information. Thought there's definitely a need in the community to kind of go over all the difference in design, the measurements, how everything looks. Before we end today's video, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of mock fit this to the manifold with the turbo outlet so you guys can see what it's going to look like. Here's the model number on the wastegate. And this is the, we're waiting for that oil drain from Nismo to come on there on the oil separator kit. I hope you guys enjoyed looking at this. I've got all brand new hardware. I've got all new manifold studs and everything that I'm going to put on the head and everything. So when I install this stuff, I'm going to use all factory OEM stuff. So it's going to look good. I even got new heat shields coming. And I already cross-referenced that the factory heat shields will mount onto the Tomei. So I've got new heat shields and everything coming. It's going to look brand new. It's going to be super strong, super reliable, and hopefully super high performance. The other thing I noticed with the HKS is there's no point. I don't think, you can't mount the exhaust turbo elbow heat shield to this. So I might consider wrapping it with like some, what is that, DEI high temp heat wrap, just to kind of more effectively keep the heat into the engine and away from the engine bay. This is what the turbo looks like brand new, so it's all wrapped up really nicely. Can't wait to put these on. I am super excited. Been waiting for these for like, since I originally bought the Nismo R1 turbos, like, back in May. Until I saw the dyno numbers on these and how they just crushed the Nismo R1. So super stoked to put on the Spectrum Motorsports DR500s and take it a step beyond, going with the Tomeis and the HKS. I think that'll be kind of the best of what you can achieve with a factory twin turbo setup. Hoping for a 500 wheel. You can see that the original inlet is the exact same size, so there's no difference there. The difference is the internal and then the output. Outlet's going to merge to 70mm directly to my Blitz front pipe, and then that'll convert from 270s into 80mm all the way back to the HKS exhaust. And these new turbos come with all the studs and everything for the turbo elbows, as well as to connect to the manifold, so you guys don't have to worry about that. Only thing you need is your oil and water line fittings. But I definitely like the look of this powder coated finish. It looks really clean, looks really nice, versus just an unfinished aluminum. So hopefully that'll stay cleaner too. Alright boys, bam, that is the moment of truth right there. So you can see, man, this looks super sick, super nice. And the one thing I just noticed about the HKS turbo elbows is they're milled out just like the factory stuff is for your nuts and washers and everything that come in here. I don't know why Tomei didn't spend the time to do that, but so I figured this would be a good comparison. So like I noticed with the factory manifold, see how you got all that extra room to get those nuts in there, versus there's like virtually no room. So even once you get that on there, it's going to be, especially on this side, really challenging. I mean, you can see how you just have to work it on before you seat it on there. So that'll be the first nut you have to put on. That'll be the second one. So it's gonna, looks like it's going to be a little bit more challenging. Let's see, beyond that, like everything pretty much looks like it fits together almost the exact same. This looks really nice. So there's a good comparison for you guys if you're wondering what OEM stuff looks like versus all the top of the line new JDM new tech. Let's see what it does on the dyno. But that's it guys, that's going to be my setup. So man, I am super excited to get these finished, assembled, and then I'm going to install them all as one piece. Hopefully they fit just as easily as the factory ones came out. But I hope you guys like this video. I wanted to get a good look at everything as far as all the sizes, all the specs, all the dimensions, and kind of how everything is going to come together. So if you guys are looking at any of these components, you'll have a better understanding of what you're buying before you spend your hard-earned cash. And I want to wish all of you guys a Merry Christmas. We've got our house decorated, tree and everything's up. Got lights on the outside of the house. We are ready for Christmas, so hopefully you guys are being safe with everything going on out there today, and hope you guys have a happy holidays from JDM Right Hand Drive. Guys, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you liked the turbo stuff on the inside, kind of looking at all that. I'll be back to install this here probably within the next month or so. Well, I've got the turbos out. I also have to replace this front engine mount because it's broken. Engine was lifting on the dyno, so it'll be perfect timing to get in there. But until I get that Nismo oil separator, I can't really finish assembling the rear turbo and dropping it into the car till then. So anyway, guys, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good one.